When your body enters REM sleep, your brainstem induces a temporary paralysis to keep you from acting out your dreams. If your consciousness wakes up while your muscles are still locked, your brain's fear center, the amygdala, goes into overdrive. To make sense of the panic, it instantly projects an entity into the room, manifesting your survival instinct as a physical threat. This ancient Egyptian papyrus illustrates a map mirroring this biological terror. Mystery schools described a cosmic gauntlet guarded by monstrous gatekeepers. Depicted as animal-headed predators, text warned these entities have no objective power. They feed entirely on the traveler's fear to keep them trapped. The human amygdala interprets modern life using this same ancient code. It doesn't distinguish between a biological hallucination and the crushing weight of financial or social pressure. To your primitive brain, the threat of rejection or scarcity triggers the same survival panic as the shadow at the foot of your bed. Most people live as a version of themselves shaped by this panic. This old self is a creature of reaction, constantly shrinking to make others comfortable, softening its ambition to avoid conflict, and outsourcing its identity to the approval of the crowd. Living in this state means seeing gatekeepers in every challenge. To claim your sovereignty, you must dismantle the part of you that validates these illusions. You aren't just fighting external pressures. You are executing the version of yourself that believes those shadows have power to stop you. In the practice of dream yoga, the transition occurs through radical recognition. You look directly at the nightmare and identify it as a projection of your own unpurified mind. By naming the state for what it actually is, the neurological loop breaks and the entity collapses into harmless light. This same recognition is the cornerstone of Machiavellian discipline. By separating your inner state from the chaos of human interaction, you gain a perspective that the person reacting out of impulse can never have. You stop being a participant in the drama and become its architect. While the average person broadcasts their plans and reacts predictably to every provocation, you utilize strategic silence. When you refuse to give a manipulator the reaction they expect, they lose their leverage. In the void of your silence, they will eventually talk too much, revealing their own fears and intentions. Marcus Aurelius maintained this impenetrable center while ruling the Roman Empire. He treated the insults of the weak and the pressures of the state as mere data points, external objects that could only move him if he granted them permission. This level of restraint acts as a psychological gravity. While others rush to fill the air with noise, your composure pulls the room toward you. You become a heavy, unreadable weight that manipulators cannot shift, turning your presence into a fortress where your reactions used to be. This absolute control isn't a gift, it's a construction. It is built in the quiet hours when no one is watching, through the unglamorous, repetitive work of improving just 1% each day until your reliability to yourself becomes unbreakable. To accelerate this process, you must act as if the transformation is already complete. Psychologist William James demonstrated that physical actions can force psychological shifts. By adopting the posture and habits of a sovereign individual before you feel like one, you compel your mind to catch up to your body. Christopher Columbus used this exact strategy to secure his legacy. Despite his modest origins, he projected the absolute authority of a nobleman so convincingly that he persuaded the Spanish monarchs to finance an impossible voyage. He forced the world to adjust to his self-image. However, a projected reality eventually requires tangible results. To ensure you produce them, you have to stop chasing comfort and start manufacturing your own high-stakes environments. Thomas Edison understood the power of a deadline. He publicly promised to light New York City with electric light before he had even perfected the technology. By announcing a 5-year window to a major newspaper, he used the weight of public reputation to create a crucible of pressure for himself. Human creativity reaches its peak under this kind of barometric pressure. Because he refused to leave himself an exit, Edison's team innovated at a rate that would have been impossible in a relaxed environment, successfully delivering on his impossible promise. True sovereignty is forged in these self-imposed fires. By throwing yourself into high-stakes situations, You use the physical necessity of survival to force your psychology and your reality to evolve into something unrecognizable. When you burn away the scarcity mindset, you stop treating the world as a threat to be survived. You cease seeking permission from those you don't even admire and begin to answer only to your own expectations. This is the essence of what some call a portal, a deliberate psychological clearing. It isn't magic. It's the systematic removal of the limiting beliefs that kept your world small. Once you invite expansion, your creative and financial reality begins to shift to fill the new space you've created. Power behaves like a compounding interest account. For months or years, your progress may look like a flat line, invisible to the world. But while the impatient burn out seeking shortcuts, you are building leverage in the dark. Eventually, that accumulation reaches a tipping point and suddenly curves into an exponential spike. When a crisis hits, the difference becomes undeniable. While the masses panic and react, the prepared mind moves through the chaos with a terrifying calm. They are never caught empty-handed because they spent the quiet seasons preparing for the storm. Power does not arrive, it accumulates, line by line, brick by brick. When you achieve absolute command over the illusions of your own mind, you find that the external world has no choice but to adjust its posture and bend to your will.